Hey guys, welcome back to Father and Son Investing. We're going to talk about Palantir Technologies today. I want to talk about why I think people are being short-sighted with this company and why it has created a fantastic buying opportunity. If you look here, you'll see that the stock price has come down almost 19% during the past month. Really, the reason for that has to do with this myopia or short-sightedness. Now, you guys have seen me wearing my glasses multiple times on videos. That is because my eyes are myopic. What that means is that the light focuses in front of my retina, and so objects that are at a distance appear blurry when compared to a normal eye. However, another definition for myopia is lacking imagination, foresight, or intellectual insight. And synonyms are unimaginative, uncreative, unadventurous, and of course short-sighted. Now, the big reason I think people are being short-sighted with this company is they're looking too narrowly at the quarterly results that were just released earlier this month. I happen to think the quarterly results were fantastic, but other people were concerned about some things in there, like the growth rate of government contracts decreasing. This has certainly created a buying opportunity for me and others who are interested in this company but did not want to pay elevated prices. Now, I want to show you a video clip of Cathie Wood being interviewed by someone at Bloomberg and see what Cathie has to say about what she thinks the company will be like in the next 5 years.
Well, I think Palantir is one, and actually folks are emailing me and said, have Cathie talk about Palantir and her recent buy.
Sure. Palantir, we believe that Palantir has the opportunity to usurp a lot of AWS, Azure, Google Compute. Over time. It is pushing artificial intelligence out to the edge. And Palantir, because I think it's roughly 60% of its business has been with the government, much of that in intelligence agencies, Palantir is, we believe today, using technologies that we will find out about 5 years from now. We believe, are so far ahead because of their expertise in intelligence that it's going to accrue to the company's benefit in the commercial space as well. So they've entered, I think a year ago, 85% of their business was with the government. Today it's closer to 60%. And so we've got all of the commercial side to go. So I don't think people understand how advanced Palantir is technologically and how its platform technologies pushing out to the edge are going to really take share over time from the more centralized services. It's interesting that we're thinking about them that way now in the cloud.
So Ms. Wood certainly has a long-term perspective on what this company will be like, and I think that's why she is investing so much money. Now, some of you may be saying, wait a minute, she sold a bunch of shares recently, and that is true. She sold them when the price was still elevated, and actually, if you follow the news more closely, you'll see that she repurchased some of her shares after the price came down. Now, let me share with you another couple of clips from Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, also in relationship to the myopia that people are having when they're selling off their shares of this company.
Welcome. Palantir had a very strong year last year, and then because of the strength of the year, it might be worth taking a second and asking, well, what do the numbers actually mean? Obviously, on the face of them, they're strong, and even curiously strong. I believe, that Palantir's numbers are a lagging indicator of several macro trends that we got right. You know, there's a very famous quote from Wittgenstein, ein Regel folgen zu glauben ist nicht ein Regel zu folgen, which means, roughly paraphrased, to believe you're following a rule isn't to follow a rule. This is typically used to explain an important trend in language philosophy, but you could also look at this as like, to use software, it doesn't mean to actually use software. If software is absolutely determinative of the current condition, just like language was, it's like in a philosophical sense, you could say we've had a shift from the language imperative or language is actually what determines meaning, to a software context where it's actually software is determining meaning, value, and legitimacy. Why do commercial and government institutions struggle with legitimacy? Because in many cases, it's very hard to understand what is the output, how did it happen, under what context, what was paid for it, what did we get? And the structures we've built are treating software as a cosmetic, augmentative attribute, when in fact software is the language of our time, and a mastery of software will determine what works and what doesn't. The numbers that you've seen are a reflection of our bet that this would happen. They are a lagging indicator, and we believe that the transformation which is happening in the world now will accelerate, and that the way in which we're providing software, both Foundry, Gotham, and our ability to scale this through Apollo, will be the way that everyone at some point will actually try to build software, and the way in which institutions will procure software, because of a dialectic of macro and micro condition, a dialectic which will force change, because the winners will figure this out.
Now, I really like the way that Mr. Karp talked about lagging. What is he talking about when he's saying the numbers we're seeing now are lagging their forethought several years ago? Now, one way of thinking of what he had to say about lagging could simply be that they made decisions years ago and the results now are just starting to trail in. That certainly could be lagging. But I want to give you a different perspective of what he may also be talking about here. Now, you see before you two curves that look remarkably similar. I received my bachelor's degree in microbiology and worked in a dairy lab while I was going to medical school. So the curve on the left is something that I dealt with throughout my education as well as during the time that I worked in the dairy lab. The curve represents the way that bacteria grow, and you see there a lag phase. The lag phase starts just before that exponential growth phase. If we look at the curve on the right, which looks remarkably similar, we see that the lag phase corresponds to finding product and market fit, followed by exponential growth, in this case termed hypergrowth. I think another way to look at what Mr. Karp was saying is that the results are just in the lag phase and that the exponential growth phase is about to start. Now, we're going to finish up our discussion by taking a look at Palantir's growth. These are as of the end of third quarter 2021. Total revenue growth was 36%, and commercial revenue growth accelerated to 37% year over year. Now, I mentioned earlier that people were concerned about the decline in growth rate for the U.S. government contracts. I, however, see this as a great thing that they are expanding their commercial revenue. The government contracts can be a bit spotty. I worked for the United States Air Force for 21 years. The budgets in the government can be a bit irregular, with money flowing into excess at some times and the purse strings getting extremely tight at others. Palantir's commercial customer count grew 46% quarter over quarter, and since December 31, 2020, they have grown their commercial customer count by 135%. They are becoming a free cash flow giant. They were in the negative at the third quarter of 2020 by $53 million, and they have brought that to $119 million for the quarter. Meanwhile, the remaining deal value grew 50% year over year, and the commercial deal value grew 101% year over year. Their remaining performance obligation, that is money that is under contract that will be generating revenue but which they cannot count the revenue yet, has increased 172% to $874 million year over year. Now, they've already exceeded what they expected their adjusted free cash flow to be for the entire year of 2021. They're currently at $320 million with only $300 million expected, so they have increased their guidance to $400 million for the year. Meanwhile, their average revenue per top 20 customer has increased by 35%. With all of this revenue growth, I think that investors are being short-sighted with this company. I, however, am happy with that because I've been buying up shares over the last few days as the price continues to come down. Let me just show you one more clip from Alex Karp that I think emphasizes this point perfectly.
There are many insights, indeed, some secrets that have powered Palantir and got us from a company that in the beginning no one would believe would would succeed because we were heavily focused on strengthening the West through a near fanatical fixation on data integration and data protection. When we transferred to the commercial world, people didn't believe that would succeed because there's no history of anybody going from government to commercial. When we became a global company, people didn't believe that would succeed because typically companies that start in the American government or in America do not succeed or thrive abroad. When we went and did our DPO, people thought we should IPO because that is the best and quickest way to transfer money to Wall Street. But we believed we should be focused on allowing the average person to participate and therefore absorb that risk. And now, as we've had a pretty sublime year based on any conventional metric, and as you've seen the results, we want to underscore this relentless focus, what you could call an inside secret, what should be a banality of business, of a long-term focus on the health of what we believe is and will continue to be one of and will become the most important software business in the world. And to do that, we're providing long-term guidance, pretty radical in the sense that we are committing to keeping a growth threshold of above 30% for the next 5 years, but not focused on the day-to-day, quarter-to-quarter, near-term focus that quite frankly destroys businesses, is one of the main reasons why so many of our businesses, especially in tech, are actually only serving Wall Street and not serving their clients, and not serving an everyday investor, and generate suboptimal returns over time because they too are a lagging indicator of the suboptimal performance, near-term myopicism of running a business. And at Palantir, obviously, we have rejected this in every way, both from the way we've produced software, from the way we interact with clients, from the bets we've made that tend to be bets that come to fruition years after very, very significant investment. In any case, we hope those of you on this call who are current investors stay with us, and those of you who prefer a more short-term focus, that you choose companies that are more appropriate for you.
All right, that's it for today. Palantir Technologies, are people being short-sighted? I think we've made the point. Please share this information with a young person in your life. Help them to learn something about investing and particularly about Palantir Technologies. Until next time, enjoy your investing.